I'm gonna call the Dumfries Town Council meeting of Tuesday, January 14th, 2025 to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Peterson. Here. Councilmember Pete.
Here.
Councilmember Fields.
Here.
Councilmember Young.
Here.
Chair Pro Tem Miles.
Present.
Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Would you please join me in a brief moment of silent prayer and reflection as you reflect, keep those in LA who's been impacted by these fires, who've lost all their houses, in your thoughts and your prayers. Amen. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Next on our agenda is the adoption of the agenda.
I motion that we adopt the agenda.
Second.
I'm going to move up on the agenda, closed session for council appointments to go in right after the adoption. Okay. Yeah, I want to make a motion to amend it to move the closed session up to the beginning of the meeting for appointments, council appointments. No, just the council appointments. Yeah, just the council appointments.
So you're looking for a friendly amendment?
Yes, a friendly amendment.
Motion to amend the agenda to move the council appointment closed session to after the approval of the agenda.
Second.
So motion and second, any discussion? All right, seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call for the question.
Councilmember Peterson. Aye. Councilmember Pete.
Yes.
Councilmember Fields.
Yes.
Councilmember Young.
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Miles.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes.
That motion's passed.
All right, we will convene in closed session and come back out. I was giving you credit.
We conversed.
All right, the Town Council of Dumfries desires to go in closed session pursuant to State Code 2.2-3711 Alpha of the Code of Virginia to discuss council appointments. I'm gonna make the motion. Alpha 1, sorry, Alpha 1. 2.2-3711 Alpha 1 of the Code of Virginia.
A second.
All right, motion is second. All right, now, Madam Clerk, please call for the question.
Councilmember Peterson.
Aye.
Councilmember Peak.
Yes.
Councilmember Fields.
Yes.
Councilmember Young.
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Miles.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nicholson.
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes,
Now we are in closed session.
what the clerk said. All right, the town council has completed its discussion in closed session and wish to continue our meeting in open discussion. Everybody who votes for this next motion votes that only legal matters, exemption were discussed or considered pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3711, is it 12, sorry. 2.2-3712, Alpha 1. All right, motion made by myself.
Second.
All right, second. Madam, any discussion? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call for the question.
Councilmember Peterson. Aye. Councilmember Pete.
Yes.
Councilmember Fields.
Yes.
Councilmember Young.
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Miles. Aye. Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes.
We are now back in open session.
All right. Any action motions to be taken?
I would like to make a motion of the following appointments to the discussed boards.
It's good, 3 separate resolutions.
So there needs to be 3 separate ones.
What was it? Okay. do it.
Okay, so to the cigarette tax board, Councilman Young. To the NVRC board, Councilman Fields. And to the NVTA Transportation Board, Pro Tem Miles.
It's gonna be PCAT,
PCAT.
Planning Advisory Coordinator. Yeah, Planning Coordinator Advisory.
PCAT.
Second. Second. All right, any discussion on the motion? All right, see,
Yes, Mr. Mayor, if you may.
yes.
I would like to later on get with you and see of how I can get onto that Boys and Girls Committee also. Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Question, do any of the boards have certain terms or years? Or it's just
Annual.
definite
The annual?
to you? Okay, sorry. Thank you.
All right. Madam Clerk, please call for the question.
Councilmember Peterson. Yes. Councilmember Pete.
Yes.
Councilmember Fields.
Yes.
Councilmember Young.
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Miles. Aye. Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes.
That motion has passed. Thank you.
All right, next on our agenda is the approval of the minutes for December 3rd and December 17th.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the minutes from December 3rd and December 17th, 2024.
Yeah, I'll second that motion. It's quiet today. All right, any discussion on the minutes? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call for the question.
Councilmember Peterson. Aye. Councilmember Pete.
Yes.
Councilmember Fields.
Yes.
Councilmember Young.
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Miles.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes.
That motion has passed.
All right, next on our agenda is citizen comment period. Okay, Madam Clerk, is there any citizens signed up?
Yes, we have one citizen that signed up, Mr. Tyrone Brown. Councilman Tyrone, former Councilman Tyrone Brown.
Good evening, council. Tyrone Brown, 17598 Duke Street, Dumfries. I'm going to just congratulate those who again made council. Mr. Young, congratulations on your appointment. I'm here as a citizen, and I just wanted to voice some concerns about some actions that the council has taken that I'm not pleased with. I'm going to apologize to start off with because this is probably going to be a little uneasy for some of you, but it's all in love. First thing I want to talk about is the dissatisfaction with how the council has approved pay raises for the town manager. That did not sit well with me at all. It's not about the town manager, it's about that position. And we have set precedents here in the town that I don't know how you can put back in the hat. So an example is that the pay raises within the year and a half that I was on council has been $60K within a year and a half. That's a lot of funding for this position. Town of this size or cities that's bigger than this particular area, the town city manager doesn't make what our town manager is making right now. That's not about the town manager, that's about how the council looks at what that salary should be. And you all should be making some adjustments right now because you have set a precedent that I don't know how you can, again, put back in the pocket. In Petersburg, their city manager makes 190K last year. 672 employees, 33,000 citizens, 22 square miles of property for infrastructure. In this town, we have 6,000 citizens. We have 1.6 in square miles and less than probably 100 people on staff. That does not equate to a bump in 50,000 versus what's happening down in bigger cities and bigger municipalities. That is the ownership of this council. Being fiscally responsible about how you're using the town's money is one of your priorities. And that doesn't show that you have fiscal responsibility. So I would highly recommend that you look at renegotiating that particular contract at the end of this particular cycle. I don't want no one to leave. I don't want anybody to get fired, but it is your duty to make sure that you are managing the resources properly. And with that, my time is up. Thank you.
Madam. Okay. Is anybody here that didn't sign up want to speak? Okay, at this time, we will go into council comments. Councilman Fields.
Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year for those who haven't seen already this year. We have a very exciting year ahead of us. Thank you for those who put me back in office again. And here we go with more excitement, more things to accomplish, and to see Dumfries continue to move forward. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Councilman Peterson.
I just want to say Happy New Year and I look forward to a new 2025. Thank you.
Councilman Pete.
Just wanted to say Happy New Year to everyone again, 2025 as we get started. I first want to say that we didn't have a chance to, but I do want to acknowledge the sensory program that we had last month. And I don't know who showed up and who was there, but it was a room packed down at the Clyde and Washington Recreational and Community Center. It was very outstanding, y'all. It did something really dear to me. It touched my heart a little differently when I really found out that the sensory was more so geared to art. Don't correct me wrong. Don't quote me wrong. It was geared to the autistic and autism children that we had within our community and surrounding communities. But I want to say thank you to the town manager and the staff for putting that together. Pro Tem, thank you much. Also, that was an outstanding event, and I'm gonna tell you guys, it really did something to me to see how many families came out to support that day. You know, I walked in there with a sense of, an eventful day. But it was a little bit more than just an eventful day. It was something that was really driven to me that was more heartfelt. And I want to say thank you again for that. And I'm looking forward to the next one because I had enjoyed myself. I was at work. I thought I was just going to be able to do a stop and pop and just show my face, a little show up. But I actually called my manager and said, I'm not coming back. I'm going to stay here for the duration of the event. So again, I want to thank you all for putting that together. It was amazing. I'm looking forward to the second one. As we get forward to look to our summer months, get geared up and everything, we have our ice and snow still going around. Please check on your neighbors. Please watch out for the black ices that is there. Town manager, also, I want to direct this to you as I watched over the duration of the of the storm per se that we just had with the snow and everything. And I want to give big thanks to Mr. James Nichols, the Public Works Director, and his team on down. They did an outstanding job on taking care of our roads to make sure our residents could move around. I want to thank you guys for that. Again, Town Manager, you have done an amazing job for this town of Dumfries here. I support you to the fullest. And where we're going to go, where we're at and where we came from to where we're going to go. With the projects that are on hand that you have now and applying your lap and how you're tasking and dealing with them, I want to say thank you. Thank you, Father, for allowing this town manager and Miss Tangela Ennis to be able to be here for us. And I'll pray that we're able to keep you around for this town of Dumfries. You are what this town needs. Thank you.
Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Want to also wish everyone a happy new year. Welcome back. Hope everyone's gotten off to 2025 bright and motivated. I'm glad we all made it through the snow. I just want to remind our citizens for the next 3 days, it's going to be very cold. I think tomorrow it's going to be 12 degrees, but it's going to be projected at a -8. So please make sure you bundle up. The free advice. Some things that we normally don't think about is dehydration when it's really cold. We normally associate that with the heat. But for our elderly, for our special needs community, and even for people who don't have those particular issues, please make sure you stay hydrated because it is very easy to get dehydrated when you have freezing conditions. Want to congratulate everyone on their appointments. And Councilman P stole my thunder, but I do want to thank the staff for the sensory-friendly breakfast with Santa. When he's talking about that feeling, the reason being is because so many of our children that have disabilities are excluded from breakfast with Santa. They're excluded from things like that. So when you have an event where families can come out and they can enjoy the festivities, it really is life-changing. It really helps with self-esteem. It helps with inclusiveness. So I'm very proud that the town did such an amazing job. And I want to thank Mr. Vines for the attention and the care that went into that program. And also all the programs that we do for our disability community, especially our children. Want to congratulate everyone on their appointments again and looking forward to the work that is ahead. Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Happy New Year to everybody. And as we begin 2025, I hope that this year brings health, happiness, and progress to each of you and your families. Also want to take a moment to acknowledge the devastating fires affecting California and extend and express my heartfelt thoughts and prayers to those families. And I pray that everyone is able to remain safe. You know, our material items are replaceable, but life is not. So I really just hope that everybody can maintain some safety. So here in our community, I want to just say that we have so much to look forward to this upcoming year. We've made a lot of progress in the years behind us, and now as we are in 2025, we have a lot to look forward to. And with that, I hope that the community stands strong with us. We continue to make decisions in the best interest of our community, and we're able to do so with unity and love for each other and keeping the citizens as our focus on the decisions that we make. And with that, I yield.
All right, as Echo continue to express our thoughts and prayers for those impacted by those devastating fires, our hearts continue to go out to them. We do stand in solidarity with them during this difficult time. Yeah, yes. Oh, we got a new. Excuse me. A newly elected Councilman Young, sorry.
That's not a problem.
It is.
Happy New Year to everyone. I want to say that I am truly honored and grateful for the trust that you have placed in me to serve as your new council member. This town belongs to all of us who believe and want a stronger and more vibrant community. I look forward to working together and to make Dumfries an even better place to live, to work, and to thrive. And I always say, let's go to work. Thank you, sir.
All right, sorry. All right. I want to take this opportunity to say happy and prosperous new year to everyone. May your 2025 be a year full of growth, progress, and unity as we continue to work together to build a brighter future for Dumfries. January is generally a time of reflection, celebration, and is a month of service. As we approach Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, we're reminded of his profound legacy, one rooted in equality, justice, and a commitment to serving others. And in that spirit, I encourage everyone to attend the oratorical contest hosted by the Prince William County Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated on Saturday, January 18th in Triangle, Virginia at the Mount Zion Baptist Church. Got it. This inspiring event is going to feature talented middle and high school finalists sharing their voices and perspectives, showcasing the brilliance and creativity of our youth and our young people. Also want to acknowledge those Divine Nine organizations celebrating their Founders Days this month. These organizations, with their long-standing traditions of service, scholarship, and leadership, have a profound impact on our communities across the nation and right here in Dumfries. I want to acknowledge the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, founded January 15th, 1908. They will be celebrating 117 years. The Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, founded January 13th, 1913, celebrated their Founders Day 112 years yesterday. Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, my brothers, celebrated January 9th, 1914. They're celebrating 111 years. And the Zeta Phi Beta Sorority, founded January 16th, 1920. They're celebrating 105 years. These organizations continue to exemplify excellence in service, mentorship, and empowerment, helping shape better futures for so many. This year's, I continue to make one of my personal priorities to continue to work closely with a lot of our youth and the youth agencies in this community that serve them. I'm extremely excited about a new partnership at the Boys and Girls Club, bringing some hydro gardens. And this project is an opportunity for our youth to learn about gardening, sustainability, and the importance of healthy, well-balanced meals. The hydro garden, combined with a course on nutrition and cooking, is going to empower them to participate in skills for healthy eating and active living. And once this garden begins producing the fresh food it yields, it's going to be available not just for the members of the club, but also for the families in our community, reinforcing our commitment to health and well-being for all. And as we continue our work, let me reaffirm our shared vision here on the council: a town with a thriving downtown, a well-managed government, and a community of engaged and empowered citizens. That vision inspires our decisions, and it reminds us of what's possible when we continue to work together. I leave you tonight with these words to inspire us as we take on this 2025 year. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, you pick a person. Let this be a reminder that courage and action are the keys to turning our dreams into reality. Together, let's aim high. Let's make this year one of bold steps and significant progress. Thank you. And as Councilman Young said, let's get to work. You must have looked at my notes. All right, next on our agenda is our reports and presentations. And our first presentation is one on Community Garden by Maria Martin.
All right, thank you so much for having me tonight. This is my fourth time trying to get this to happen. Not that you were not willing, but things didn't work out for whatever reason. But now we are here today, and I truly appreciate everyone for allowing me to be here today. So my name is Maria Martin, and I am the president of Mind the Environment. Let me just give you a little background of why this organization has that name. I believe that our environment has to do a lot with our mind, and our mind has to do a lot with our environment. Not precisely the outside, but even the environment that is every day, at home or at work, whatever we are. That is what eventually is going to shape us and make us what we are. So we must mind the environment. I have been a resident of Virginia since 1993 and of Prince William County since 1994. I have witnessed many changes in our state over the past 30+ years. In fact, some of these changes inspired me to found Mind the Environment Incorporated. While we have made progress and experienced growth in areas such as education, health, technology, and transportation, mental health has declined tremendously. And now we go to the slide 2. Our mission is improve mental health, connect generations, and promote sustainable living and practice. Our vision is to establish and maintain community gardens that provide a space for individuals to connect with nature and engage with their community. Slide 3. What is the problem that we are facing? According to Dr. Vivek Murthy, the 19th and 21st Surgeon General of the United States, in his book, Our Epidemic of Loneliness and Isolation, published in 2023, he says, before the pandemic in 2019, 1 in 2 American adults reported experiencing loneliness and isolation. That is 50% of the population. As of 2023, 80% of the population under 18, that is 80%, almost everyone. Population under 18 years of age reported feeling lonely and isolated. This is according to Roots of Loneliness. In 2024, I learned just recently that our students in the US rank mediocre in math, science, and English, according to the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. Something else that they mentioned in their investigation is that when our ranking in our students decline, also our economy decline, and everything else is like a spiral that pulls the whole society down. This is very serious. We may not see it right now, but just think in 10, 15, 20 years where we are going to be if we don't work in that area right away. In 2021, I saw a young man between 15 and 17 years old walking on Grand Park Road in Dumfries. And this is why I have been knocking on the doors of the town of Dumfries, because this is where I was deeply inspired. A drunk in Virginia, Dumfries, Virginia, this young man was drunk and holding a paper bag that concealed a bottle of liquor. It was then that I began developing a way to help our younger generation and communities combat loneliness and isolation by creating the right environment to connect with people and nature. Poor mental health, when we have that in our society, students don't spend enough time outside. That is something that causes poor mental health in the population, causing cortisol, the stress hormone, to rise. So being lonely and isolated, this hormone will rise. This is something that happens physically to anyone, and mostly children, because they are so vulnerable to these situations. Students will pour with poor mental health perform worse in school. So no wonder why the achievement of our students is so mediocre at this moment. Loneliness. Our communities are divided. We need communities to thrive because in disconnected communities, people suffer alone and understand each other less. If we get in touch with people that live close to us, we will get to understand them. We will know why people behave the way they behave. There may be something that we have no idea, but if we are connected, we will be able to be more friendly and find out what is going on with a human being that lives next to us. Pollution and waste. Pollution is an issue no one can deny. More than 50% of our homes' weekly waste is organic, which could be used to fertilize our soil in the name, our soil. So that is something so incredible. You know, since I found this out, that 50% of our waste, more than 50% of our waste out of our homes is organic. Every time that I put something in the trash, like a banana peel, or potato peels, or leftovers, those things are waste that could go back to the soil and fertilize naturally our soil, which could be used to fertilize our soil. In the name of progress, we are contaminating our soil and water streams with dangerous fertilizers. Slide 4, please. The solution, improving mental health. According to stress, well-being, and resilience potential nature-related activities, such as community garden activities, and activities with the community reduces cortisol, which I was talking before. And of course, it will make people more pleasant just to exist. Connecting generations. That is something that is not very usual in the American world. You know, when people get older, they usually go and live with other older people. Or, you know, when they are too little, they go and live their first years of life with someone that is watching for them. So the family connection is not very enforced here in the United States. But this connection with other generations, it helps us be more caring for the elderly and for the youth. And we, we are in between, we can be that hinge that bring us together. Families and neighbors working together, celebrating, planting, sharing, talking, laughing, that is what is going to change our communities, one gardening day at a time. Reduce carbon footprint. This is big. Do you know, I didn't understand what carbon footprint was until a friend of mine explained. And he said, well, you know, a person that lives, let's say, in El Salvador, his carbon footprint is very basic. He doesn't probably has his own car. He may walk from his house to the store, or using a bicycle, or riding a bus. A bus will take many people to the same place. And then, so our environment doesn't suffer as much as in here in the United States. Our footprint is heavier because to go anywhere, we drive, or, you know, we waste a lot. For example, when we go to buy just a hamburger, The hamburger comes in a little bag, comes with this and that and plastic and paper and boom. So this person that was spending daily maybe $1 while eating a day, here is about $20 to $50 or more for any of us. So this is something that it will help us as well. Reducing carbon footprint, carbon waste collection and compost. Reduce carbon footprint collecting organic waste, which is about 50% of the waste that we collect daily, weekly in our homes. So that is also going to reduce, and we are going to make a good use of our good waste. Slide number 5, please. Market strategy, community gardens. We are going to reach out for donations. We are going to knock on doors of our local and state and federal government, and that is what we are doing today here. You are our local government, and we really want to work together with you. We want to serve the people just as you want to serve the people. That's why you run for office, because you are interested in representing and serving the people of your community of Dumfries. Partnering with like-minded organizations, with other community gardens that exist already. We want, if they need people, we are going to bring the people, and we are also going to provide education for when to plant and when to harvest and how to do the composting, etc. Virginia Cooperation Extension is an organization that is very involved in Prince William County. They are already our partners. We are working together, and they are going to provide that education that we are going to provide to the people that doesn't have any idea about gardening but would like to spend time outside of their homes. I already mentioned existing composting organizations and environmental protection organizations. Those are going to be organizations that we are going to work together with. And slide number 6, please. How does it work? This is our strategy to attract students and their families. Organic waste collection will educate and inspire young people to lead this effort. We want the young people to take leadership in this. Like when we will go and tell them what is that they are going to be working for the future of our environment, we are going to hand these compostable bags where they are going to take it home and tell their parents and say, Mom, Dad, we are going to use this bag because at the end of the week, we are going to take it to the bin that is in such and such place. And because the bag is compostable, they just have to drop it off. For that, we are going to teach what waste is compostable. We will have a video where we are going to instruct them, and we are going to get them very, very encouraged to do this. We will show them if we don't take care of our environment right now, we will show them what happens next, because this is something that we can see in other places if you don't take care of our environment. Even right now, the big amount of, how do you call when you go with trash, the landfill, we can reduce that about 50%. Right now, we cannot reduce it, it's there. We understand that. But now, if we incorporate this in every home through the school system, public and private school system, I know we are going to do a great progress that is going to last for a long, long time and is going to impact future generations.
We thank you for that very thorough presentation. What is your ask of this council and this body?
All right, do you mind going to the next slide, please? All right, so this is the impact that we are going to have. I already mentioned that. We are going to connect generations. We are going to have young people wanting to come to see how it let us grow, etc. Can we go to the next one, please? All right, so here is what we want.
Okay.
We want your cooperation. This is a, how do you call it? It's not deeply watched into, but these are the prices that will take us to have a garden in this field. So I am so thankful. I am going to say that today is so key because I just met Mr. Andy Davenport right here. He is representing his organization, which is Community Housing Partners. And it happens to be that he's going to be also doing a presentation. And I went and I introduced myself. This just happened right now. And I asked him a little bit about what he does. And I asked him, do you know who owns that land, you know, the field under the power lines? And he said, we do. I said, no kidding. So we are going to have conversations with him, and he probably will love to see the neighbors that he's attracting to his development, to see them gardening there and starting a new lifestyle.
So we just have one question. What is your ask of this body? Because we will be going in the next couple weeks here. We're going into our budget cycle. So what is your ask so that we can take in consideration as we prepare our budget and stuff like this? What is your ask?
Right? So
We just need a,
actually, I have some posts that I put together right there, about $25,000 to begin with our first community garden.
okay, so that's your ask of us?
Yes.
Okay, well, we have your presentation. We will look at it as we go into the budget cycle and I don't know if the council doesn't have any other questions, okay, Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you so much, Ms. Martin, for your presentation. Your commitment to our community and to the young people is very admirable, and I'm glad that Dumfries inspired you. Because all over the country and in other areas of Prince William County, our children are struggling with alcohol abuse and fentanyl exposure. And then also, I heard a new term a couple weeks ago about cyber hoarding. Not sure what it means, but they're dealing with it. I do want to encourage you, we do have a grant process. And so I'd encourage you to work really closely with our staff to follow that process and see how we can support your needs. So thank you again for your presentation.
All right. Thank you so much.
Vice Mayor.
Really appreciate it.
Ms. Martin, thank you also for the presentation. I think it's a great idea because our current culture, we are all, I'm assuming all, but a lot of us are addicted to screen time, and we have too much screen time, whether it's our phones, our tablets, computers. I work on a computer all day, and then I read books from a Kindle or in a tablet. So pulling the community away from that and getting into the nature of the gardening, I think it's a wonderful idea. To Pro Tem's point, we do have a grant process that I would like for you to look into. One thing I was going to ask you, and then you touched on it, was I didn't see in here in your plan where you would like or where you would propose that this garden goes, because that's something that we have to take into consideration with the size of our footprint in the town of Dumfries. Where would this investment actually go?
All right. So physically, right there. The top picture is in Aquia Harbor in Stafford County. That garden is underneath power lines.
Okay.
And here we have the power line right here in Grandpa Road and almost Route 1. It's behind the market and the townhouses. The place is excellent. People will be able to walk from the townhouses, from the new apartments that are right up the street and from across the street also. The only thing that we don't have there that we will need, I will need to, I mean, I am assuming that he's saying, okay, something that we will need is like a restroom. And probably we can use the parking on the existing parking that is right there, not far.
Okay.
And we will also need to fence the place because we have a lot of little creatures that will come and eat our tomatoes, in the beds of their growth. So, and a gate. And I am also going to talk with Home Depot, Lowe's, with this organization that do composting. I just sent him kind of a proposal, and he's looking because we just talked
That's
yesterday
great.
morning.
Thank you very much, Ms. Martin, for that information.
You're welcome.
We appreciate your presentation. Thank you.
All right, thank you, appreciate it.
Our next presentation is from Claire from the Landscape Architecture and Urban Design. She on?
She had to get off the call. She said she had to get off at 8 p.m. She
Oh,
didn't have
we took
visitor, so she said she won't be able to present.
Uh,
She just sent the email, said she won't be able to present. She had to get off at 8 o'clock.
okay. All right. Then we'll have Mr. Andy Davenport come up and do his presentation.
Thank you, Mayor Wood. Thank you, council, for allowing me to present today. Truly fortunate to be here this evening to discuss not just the work that Community Housing Partners has done in the town of Dumfries, but what we're looking to do with the town of Dumfries in the future. But I'd like to start with a brief introduction about Community Housing Partners, or I'll just call it CHP. You can please advance. So this is our 50th year in operations. We actually started as a small nonprofit from a couple of Virginia Tech grads who wanted to better the lives of homeowners in the hills around Blacksburg. Starting then, we've branched into 3 main business services. Real estate development, that's what I do. We do 100% of our real estate development is income restricted for low-income families and seniors. Energy services, which is our energy solutions, our biggest business. That's weatherization and home repairs for low-income homeowners across the Commonwealth and the region. We also train weatherization technicians throughout the region. And finally, housing services. We own over 6,000 units in the Southeast, with about 4,000 units of rental housing or rental homes in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We manage all of our own portfolio, and we provide resident services at all of our sites. You can advance, please. This is the key to our success, is as a large owner of low-income housing, we take the 3 aspects of what we do very, very seriously. And that's resident well-being. That's absolutely crucial to everything we do. Since we serve a predominantly low-income population, we have an extensive resident services program, as well as eviction prevention. All of our developments are built with an eye towards sustainability and carbon neutrality. And we are here for the long run. So we consider our management role is critically important for our financial resilience, so that we can continue to serve low-income populations for generations. You can please advance. All of our developments, including the ones we're proposing for Dumfries, are built to green standards. Typically, it's been Earthcraft, but we're increasingly doing enterprise green communities, which is similar to LEED. You can please advance. Again, these are the elements that we look to in our communities. that we're providing housing stability, safe, decent housing, healthy air quality by doing a lot of humidity control and moisture control in our units, social cohesion, especially with intergenerational living and with seniors, economic stability. We do financial literacy programs and food security where we have residents who need assistance with accessing food. We often bring in food services to our developments, and you can advance this. Resident Services has been operating since the mid-90s. We have more than $2 million a year that go into our Resident Services program, and those three things center around community programs, housing stability, and senior services. Typically, when we start or go into a community that we construct, first thing we do is poll the residents, find out what they need. If it's a family development and they have a lot of children, we look to after-school programs. It's got a higher percentage of seniors. We do a lot of health and wellness. We do a lot of financial literacy and eviction prevention. Our goal is to keep everyone in their homes as long as possible and ultimately get them out of a rental home and into a home ownership home, which is the second goal. You can please advance. So I think you're hopefully aware of Town Square at Dumfries that we built, and the 227 units we have there. That development we're extremely proud of. Has on-site management. It serves low-income residents, working residents. I was there today and had a wonderful moment just watching the kids get off the bus. It flooded with kids, and they headed to the community center to do some after-school stuff. They're doing an art program for Martin Luther King Day. We do CHP reads there in before school, where we give out books and do reading workshops with the kids to excite them about learning in the fall and getting ready to go back to school. Again, this was a green development that we built a few years ago. You can please advance. These are just some interior shots of the completed development. All the units have washers and dryers. These are basically built, I would say, better than most market rate developments because we build to higher standards of energy efficiency and resiliency for the finishes we put in. I think the only difference is probably countertops. You can please advance. Again, we have an on-site coordinator who does a ton of programs. Most recently, we did the Toys for Tots and Warm Wishes, where we distribute warm clothes for folks who, jackets for folks who can't afford that. We do health fairs and screenings, a bunch of after-school programs for the kids, and a lot of we're bread baking with the seniors next week. So a lot of different programs that go on at this site. And you can please advance. And what you'll be considering first in the consent agenda this week and then hopefully next week is a change to a proffer amendment that we had for an additional phase. Originally, Town Square was going to include a senior development basically at the top of the hill above the main site. Unfortunately, given the topography, interest rates, and the cost of construction, that's proved to be financially infeasible. So what we have proposed, and also I think not feasible or not the best development that could be provided to Dumfries. So what we have proposed, and we presented to Planning Commission last night and have their recommendation, is to bring the development off the top of the hill, bring it down to Grand Park Road. It would include 60 units for intergenerational housing, so we'll have 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. It will include family housing. It will include the 5,000 square feet of commercial space that was originally proffered. The only difference from the original proffer is the change from an age-restricted development to a intergenerational development. It will continue to serve a low-income population. And we really think it better serves Dumfries by activating Grand Park Road. You'll see we've proposing a path that'll connect the main development back down to Grand Park Road to allow residents to get from the main Town Square down to the bus shelter we constructed a few years back to encourage bus use rather than going all the way around Route 1 and then onto Grand Park Road. This will encourage and activate Grant Park Road with the first floor commercial space in the A building there you see. And we think this is an excellent opportunity to serve working families in the town of Dumfries. We intend to submit this to Virginia Housing for funding in the next funding round, and that's March 13th. This is an excellent, I believe, an excellent opportunity. I'd love to hear council's feedback for this development. Additionally, we are your neighbors. We want to be good neighbors. We are also, and you can advance the slide. We will, this is just to show the full context of the existing development and the new development that we're proposing. I was talking to some other folks and thinking about how we could activate that trail. I would suggest we get an arborist in to do a tree survey and highlight some of the old growth and really special trees that could still be up there. We talked with the planning commission yesterday a lot about lighting, putting some benches, really activating that trail. So, you know, it's something that's desirable, not just for the residents, but for the community at large. Additionally, right now, as you may know, we are occasionally, especially in the warmer months, dealing with some squatters who go up there and pitch tents. And we think that we know that this will kind of remove that and hopefully provide housing for some of those folks. Because some of those folks are working people who just can't afford a home. Unfortunately, we've got people living in cars and motels, you know, who have 2 or 3 jobs, who could afford rent at one of our developments, but there isn't enough of our units for them. You can advance the next slide. Just wanted to also discuss that, or at least raise that we will at some point be bringing another development with our Fraley Boulevard property. This is kind of up in the air because we are subject to the taking for the road widening. So there's some easement taking happening there from the county. We're working through that now. We think we'll be able to maintain some kind of development there, whether it's a double loaded corridor building that we're showing here or garden style apartments. But I would really love to come back to you, to the council, discuss this with you, get input, get feedback, because that's the kind of work I want to do as a neighbor in Dumfries. With that, I welcome your questions, and thank you so much again for the opportunity to speak tonight.
Thank you for taking time to put together this presentation. And just for edification, CHP has been working with the town since 2013. I got some colleagues sitting out in the audience that has been a part of conversations on these projects ongoing for many years. CHP has kind of changed their position and been back and forth several times on that. You know, on that last future development project that you proposed on Fraley, we talked about building a bridge to connect it over here to the town hall. We talked about proffering you all building a police station or a library over there on Grant Park Road. There's been so many different discussions over the last 10 to 12 years with CHP, and it's, you know, for us, it's been a lot of inconsistencies. Well, as far as for me, I've been up here for all of those conversations with community housing partners and watched the developments. When Town Square was built, initially on that side, we were talking about 5,000 to 10,000 square feet of commercial space. They took away all the commercial space, and we got all housing and we got all apartments. Now you're proposing, yes, we're going to get commercial space. I know we had some, I don't know if you were part of that, but we had some back and forth on how much commercial square space we were going to get on this Grant Park. It's just been a very rocky relationship between me and CHP and it's this dais, you know, over the last 10 years, because a lot of things that were promised, we just didn't get, right? It's kind of been a long road.
I'm truly sorry to hear that. Unfortunately, I am newer to the organization. I started in August of 2023. I know, the police station was something, but another site was chosen and we actually purchased the land back from the town. So not necessarily a promise broken, but just a change because it's been 10 years.
It was something with the purchase back. You didn't want to purchase, then purchase it, and then we doubled and we kind of tripled the price and we sold it to you back. But
Right.
that was,
And you did well on that, so that's a good thing.
but it wasn't because we wanted to, right? It was because we still wanted a library or police. We wanted a community amenity out of that type of thing. We didn't want to sell the land back to you. You needed it back to develop and draw out the scale for this new plan. So I just wanted to get some context as we begin to start this conversation and as the council lights up the lights, and then we'll come back. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. So the mayor touched on several points that I intended on making as well, with the inconsistencies and the back and forths, with the proffer changes. But before I get into that, let me acknowledge that for all the things that you spoke of that you are doing in the community, it is absolutely appreciated. Because in order for us to be a prosperous town, we need to have community partners who are investing in the community as much as we are. So thank you for that. It is absolutely appreciated. And I hope that regardless of how tonight's conversation goes, you all continue to be involved in the community the way you are. So thank you for that. However, I too have some feelings of skepticism because of the changes that were being made to the proffers. To the mayor's point, it was 10,000 square feet of retail space, and then it was, well, we're not going to do retail space, and somewhere along the line, we ended up at 5,000 square feet. 5,000 square feet is, in my novice opinion, at most, maybe 2 or 3 small offices.
Mr. Mayor, may I be heard for a moment, please?
Yes.
We advertise this as just a presentation by this particular group.
Okay.
The detailed conversation on how members feel about the proffer sort of skips
okay.
ahead because we have a public hearing
Public hearing next week.
that we need to have scheduled for this. So I'm just asking that we at least separate our comments so that we don't get into the discussion of the details of the proffer amendment right now. Thank you.
Got it. Just on the presentation in front of us. Vice Mayor.
I'll yield until public hearing.
Chair
Good
Pro Tem.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for your presentation.
My pleasure.
I do have a couple questions. First and foremost, the art program that's taking place on Martin Luther King Day, is that open to the public? Could council members attend and support our youth?
I can certainly inquire as to what, it's not happening on Martin Luther King Day, but I know it's happening in advance of that.
Okay, if we could ask that you get with our clerk to get the details out to us, if we could.
Absolutely.
Because we want to support our young people any way possible. I do have a question. I was glad that you tied in homeownership to affordable housing. A lot of times that link is missed
Mhm.
because, ultimately the pathway to affordable housing is homeownership. Do you have a percentage of your consumers who have successfully gone on to buy homes? Do we know?
I don't. I can look into our business intelligence unit, see if they have that data.
Okay.
I know that when we do a program where we're building new homes, we do have a small homeownership division. And when we do that, we market first to our residents.
Okay.
It's typically a big push for them.
Okay, yeah, I'd be interested in the success rate of the
Mhm.
program to make sure that if there are programs, if we are saying that the goal is affordable housing, we want people in affordable long-term housing. It's not enough to just make sure they can continue to pay their rent on time and are not evicted. We want to make sure that our families find their forever home. So I'm really interested in
Right.
the information on that. But with that, I'll yield.
Councilwoman Peterson.
So I do have a question. You have resident services of Town Square,
Mhm.
and I'm seeing all of these youth enhancement activities, after-school programs for children. Is this open to the people in Dumfries, or is this for residents of Town Square only?
This is residents for Town Square only. We have a twofold issue there. One is a liability insurance issue, and the second is we have a requirement from our funders to serve only low-income folks who've been through an income certification. So our services typically at our developments where we've accepted that funding have to be tied to people who've confirmed their incomes.
Do you advertise this? Do the kids know this?
Do the kids know the programs? Yes. There's a community newsletter that goes out. There's calendars on the community building. There's information available for them.
I'm just asking because I'm in Highland Park and most of these kids are over on my side.
Mhm.
They're probably on your side. And I do a lot of homework with these kids and give out candy and play ball over on my side.
Mhm.
So I'm just wondering if they knew these events were going on, they should be attending, and it would be nice to know these because now I can encourage them to go over there. So
Okay.
that's why I'm asking, is it advertised anywhere?
Just at Town Square. Because again, it has to serve the residents at Town Square per the funding rules from Virginia Housing.
Need to know though.
I'm a black habit on this.
Councilman Pete.
Well, I'm gonna just say my quick remarks, and I just want to thank you for bringing those type of amenities to the children. I'm big on youth things for the children and seniors. So again, thank you all for that part. Great presentation, and it's nice to see that you're a part of the team now, and hopefully we can get some things done here in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Right.
Town manager.
Sir, if you may, in regards to the different events that y'all offer over at Town Square, is it possible that you can share that information with the clerk so we can make sure the council is getting that out as well?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mr. Wagner, can you just share with us your, because you got a funding deadline in there. Just a little bit about your deadline for you getting your funding and what's it contingent on?
So we'd like to submit an application to Virginia Housing for 9% low-income housing tax credits. Those are due March 13th. That is contingent upon approval of the proffer amendment. We have to show that the property is properly, wow, that's too much proper. We have to show that the zoning is in place for the development to be, to meet threshold for application.
Okay. All right. And this is pretty much what you presented is your final product or your proposal and what you want to.
This is our proposal for zoning. We still have to go through site plan approval.
Okay.
And we know that we'll go through tweaking and changes throughout that process as well.
All right. Well, thank you again. It's good to see you in a different role. You're not wearing your other hat anymore.
I don't believe.
Oh, no.
No.
You wasn't over. Okay.
No. I've been, again, I'm just the Vice President of Real Estate Development. And happy to be here. And again, thank you all for your time.
All right. Thank you. All right. Next, we'll have our 2024 town audit presentation.
My pen.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Town Council, Town Manager. Thank you very much for the opportunity to address you tonight. Tonight, the auditor will present to you the results of the fiscal year 2024 audited financial report. Tonight, I will present to you an overview of the audit findings and sort of spotlight some key findings. Additionally, as this is an open meeting to the community, I will also include some general information about the audit process and the report so that everyone here and those watching is on the same page and everyone's getting the same amount of information. Next slide. So for the agenda today, I'm going to go over, do an overview. I'm going to do look at the audit opinion. We're going to discuss some basic financial statements. Then we're going to go through notes of financial statements, supplementary information, and then the external auditor will give his update. So if we go to the next slide, the overview. The purpose of today's presentation is to provide the Town Council an overview of the results pertaining to the preparation and audit of the fiscal year 2024 audit and financial report. The fiscal year 2024 audit covers the period of July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, and represents the financial position and results of the town as of June 30th, 2024. The audit, 2024 audit will be submitted to the federal government and to the state of Virginia. It is also made public to the citizens of Dumfries so that everyone can understand where the town is and how the town is doing. The fiscal year 2024, and I must say, has no audit findings, and the audit finding mentioned in fiscal year 2023 has been addressed. Let me be clear and say that again. The fiscal year 2024 has no audit findings. And then the audit finding in fiscal year 2023 has been addressed. That is with the diligent work of the town manager and the staff, but also the direction and vision of this council. Next slide. The audit opinion. At the conclusion of the fiscal year 2024 audit process, the town external auditor renders an opinion on whether the town financial statement fairly presents the results of the town for the period reported. The types of opinion for all those in the audience are 4 types: unmodified, qualified, adverse, or disclaimer. The last 3 opinions that were given to the town audit are modified opinions. Next slide. At the conclusion of the fiscal year 2024 audit process, the town's external auditor rendered the following opinion: an unmodified opinion, which means a clean opinion in the auditor's opinion and judgment that the financial statements are fairly and appropriately presented without any identified exceptions, which means that the auditor can stand by these by this report. Next statement, basic financial statements. The fiscal year 2024. Next slide. The basic financial statements. The fiscal year 2024 audit. The fiscal year 2024 audit presents up to 2 different types of financial statements as part of its basic financial statements. So you have the government-wide and the governmental funds. The governmental funds are statements of net position and statement of activities. And then the governmental funds are your balance sheet and statement of revenues, expenditures, changes in fund balance. So when we move on to the basic financial statements, which are government-wide, which includes the governmental activities. And if you look in Exhibit 1, I don't know if everybody has a copy of the audit, but if you look in Exhibit 1, you can see what is a snapshot of the town's assets and liabilities under the accrual basis of accounting. So go to Exhibit 1, you will be able to pull that up. Yep, gonna go to that to you right now. 10, yep, page 10. So if we look there, you will see a sort of a snapshot of the town's assets and liabilities under the accrual basis of accounting at the end of each fiscal year. So in layman terms, we compare 2024 and 2023 to see where the changes are, to look at the percent changes as well as the dollar figures to see how the town is done. You can see at the end, if you look at the bottom line, for those who wanted to know the bottom line, you look at the total net position, you can see that the town has increased its total net position by $2.3 million. We round up in the auditing finance world, or 2.2 or 23%. Which is positive and shows growth for the town. Next slide. If we want to see the statement of net position continue, this is basically investment of capital assets, property, plant, equipment, et cetera, things that are owned by the town. Again, going back down to the bottom line, you can see that position has also again increased again. And that is also highlighted again by 23% and $2.3 million. And now we're going again, we use pie charts to sort of understand and sort of highlight this. If we go to the next one in Exhibit 2, which is the next page if we were following in the audit. so on page 10 or page 11, you will see a statement of activities. This is all the revenue that are coming into the town. As you can see, this pie chart sort of details what the percentages of those revenues make up our general fund. And you can see some of the biggest source of revenue comes from our miscellaneous fund, which is at 39%, followed by property taxes at 16%. So this is how our budget is making up and how we performed for fiscal year 2024. If you move forward, again, you will see the next slide. You will see statement of activities. These are our expenses. How do we do our expenses and how those are tracked? If you looked, and this is based off of our activities, you will see that our largest activity obviously is the government administration, as well as followed by public safety. So those are where some of our large dollars go to in order to help fund the town. Next, you will see in Exhibit 3, you will see a comparison of the 5 funds. This is all of the 5 funds that are broken up. General fund, capital projects. We added stormwater utility, grant, street, and highway, which was expanded this year as our books and recorded as the town continues to grow and continues to do the work in servicing the community. Next, if you will see also in that continue, you will see the growth and the highlight of that. I just want to take one particular note, the highlight that the town's unassigned fund balance, that is the revenue, but that is the savings that the town can use to appropriate to any issues that might arise, funds that are not sort of appropriated to anything. It also shows that the town has done well in the fiscal year 2024. Has grown or increased by about $3.2 million in from fiscal year 2023 to fiscal year 2024. So for a total of about $7 million, or 3.8, excuse me, 3.8. This shows that the towns did extremely well in the fiscal year, but also the town is developing based off of its financial policies, which is implemented, that the town just has enough cushion to help protect itself in case there's any sort of issues or emergencies that might have arisen. The unassigned fund balance will be critical in the future, particularly as the town looks to potentially position itself for a credit rating. So the next thing is notes on the financial statements. These are our long-term obligations, our debts, looking at GO bonds, which is our general obligation bonds, and keeping track of those. That's really our largest debt. We're about 15 million, but most of that comes from our general obligation bonds. And then the last is required with supplemental information, which is the required supplemental information audit, RSIs, in the last section of the audit. But I say this to say, most importantly, the 3 major points that I always wanted to conclude with as I conclude, and we go to the what's next, the last slide. The conclusion is I want to thank everyone for tonight's presentation and just want to recap quickly. The audit had no major serious findings in fiscal year 2024. The fiscal year 2023 finding was addressed. We're really proud about that. The staff has worked hard under the vision of the council and the direction of the town manager. The town's unassigned fund balance has grown tremendously. Lastly, the town is in the process of building a rateable credit profile, as everyone knows. The 2024 audit has placed the town in a favorable position by allowing the town to hit the targeted fund balance percentage that is in your fund balance policy. So with the 2024, the town's and the 2024 audit, the town has now hit its fund balance policy that the council has adopted, as set forth by the policy you've adopted. Also, the fiscal year 2024 audit has provided evidence of the council and town's manager commitment to good financial policy and good financial management. And you should be very proud of that. Which is the key in developing a good credit profile in meeting the town's goals and ultimately serving the residents of the town of Dumfries. I now invite our auditor to come up and to make a presentation as well. And then we can address any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Eatman. He did a really good job. I don't know how much I actually have to do now. So I appreciate all the details on this. Good evening, council. Thank you for having me here tonight to present the audit for the town of Dumfries for the year ended June 30th, 2024. My name is Mike Moran. I'm a director at RFC. Next slide, please. For tonight's presentation, I'm going to keep it at a high level. Some of the information you're going to hear, Mr. Eatman has already mentioned. I'm going to kind of go over it again, but I'll go over the engagement summary, the auditor's required communication with governance. There's two items that go along with the report itself, the audit results and a few high-level financial highlights. Starting with the engagement summary, you engaged us to perform a financial statement audit for the year ended June 30th, 2024. This audit was subject to the generally accepted standards in the U.S., the specifications for audits of county, cities, towns issued by the APA of Virginia, and the standards for financial audits contained in the government auditing standards issued by the Comptroller General. Just a little bit high-level summary of what we do. Throughout the fall, we'll work with staff, whether I'll come up or remotely to work on our field work. We do come in November. I'll bring myself and usually around 2 to 3, 4 people with me. We'll kind of finish up everything we need to do for a few days. Once we're done with our field work, it comes back, it's reviewed by myself and 2 others over at RFC, the same as the report. So our work does go through a few set of eyes before that final byproduct sits in front of you today. Next slide, please. Starting with the audit results. So there are 3 auditor type reports within the report itself. The first one is the independent auditor's report. So that's located towards the front of the report. What gives it away when you're going through the report is you'll see our header on the top. So the independent auditor's report is our report on the numbers. And I'm happy to let you know for the year ended June 30th, 2024, we had an unmodified opinion. So that's a good, clean opinion on the numbers. And that's exactly what you're looking for. The second auditor type report is our report over internal control over financial reporting and on compliance and other matters, sometimes which you'll hear thrown around as the yellow book opinion. This is located towards the back of the report itself. I'm happy to let you know for the year ended June 30th, 2024, we did not identify any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. And as mentioned earlier, last year we did have a material weakness. So this year we did not. So that is, that's good. And that's, progress we like to see. The third and final auditor type report is our report on each major program on internal control and compliance. So the uniform guidance, this is our report on the single audit we do. This doesn't happen every year for the town. The reason you had it this year is because the federal expenditures for the year went over 750. So that triggers a single audit, which in return has us test based on thresholds, single audit programs, making sure they're in compliance with the uniform guidance. So I'm happy to let you know that for the year ended June 30, 2024, we did not identify any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. The program that we tested this year was ARPA, so the American Rescue Plan. Next slide, please. The communication items, there's 2 items that go along with the report itself. In front of you, council, the 2 items are within I think the front of the report. So the first one is our governance letter. This is a standard letter that's required to be sent from us to you. Within that report, we'll communicate any new accounting policies that was adopted by the town, the estimates, the significant estimates used throughout the audit, such as useful lives for capital assets and a little bit about the OPEB and pension liabilities. If there was any difficulties in performing the audit, corrected or uncorrected misstatements, any disagreements with management, if any other CPAs were asked to weigh in on anything, and any other audit findings or issues. So we had no disagreements with management, no difficulties in performing the audit. This is a pretty standard letter in the fiscal year, so nothing out of the ordinary. The second item that goes along with it is our management comments and recommendations. So these are items that don't rise to a level of material weakness or significant deficiencies. Therefore, they're not reported on the actual financial report itself. So these are our comments that we're saying, hey, like these are some items to continue to work on and work towards in the future. And these are our comments and recommendations. I'm not going to go over all these. If anyone has any questions, you're welcome to ask, or at a time when you get a chance to kind of go through them a bit more, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. Next slide, please. A few financial highlights. One second here. Starting with the statement of net position. So as was mentioned, that is your balance sheet on full accrual. So it has your capital assets, any of your long-term debt, accrued liabilities, compensated absences, your bonds, so those sort of items. So net position for the town at year end was approximately 12.3 million, which was an increase of about 2.3 from the prior year. So that's on a full accrual basis. And then over on your modified accrual basis, the total fund balance for the town at year end was approximately 12.3 million. For the general fund, this total fund balance was approximately 7.5, of which, as mentioned, the unassigned fund balance was about 7 million. Capital projects did have a fund balance this year of approximately 4.4 million. Keep in mind, the town did have those bond issuances during FY24. So you would expect your capital projects fund balance to continue to go down in future years as you pay for those capital projects. The stormwater utility did not have a fund balance because of revenues and expenditures equaled each other. The grants had a small fund balance of 18,000, and streets and highway had a fund balance of 317,000. Also on your modified accrual basis, when we're talking your net income or loss during the fiscal year, the town had a total increase in fund balance of 8.7 million, of which approximately 3.9 was in the general fund. The capital projects had an increase of 4.4. Again, we talked about the bond issuance. No increase or decrease in the stormwater utility. The grants had the increase of 18,000, and the streets and highway had increase of about 317,000, change in fund balance. Next slide, please. Just to give it a little bit more of a visual here, but starting on the left-hand side is the fund balance for the town as of 2020, and on the right-hand side is the fund balance as of 2024, just to kind of give you another visual of the historical change in fund balance over the years. Next slide, please. And a couple other things on the report itself. So when you get a chance to, or if you haven't got a chance to digest the report yet, here's a few areas that I think are worth taking a look at. Starting with the management discussion and analysis, that is a summary or a snapshot of the fiscal year for the town. So it really gives you a good overview of the results within the MD&A. So if you don't read anything on the report itself, if you just read the MD&A, that'll give you the overview right there. The notes of the financial statements kind of dive in a little bit deeper, and they enhance and detail out what you'll see on the exhibits itself. Note 6 is your long-term obligations, as mentioned earlier. And then your schedule of revenue and expenditures, your budget versus actual for the general fund can be found on page 70. So that breaks it down and shows you what came in higher than expected or less than expected. And then your CFA, as I mentioned, the town had triggered a single audit this year. So you'll find your CFA on page 101. And this will break out what federal expenditures the town had by program and by department there. Next slide, please. That's all I have for you tonight. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Vice Mayor.
Thank you. This question may be more for Mr. Eatman. Based on the findings of this audit, which I am proud of, the good job, staff. How do these findings impact our future for receiving bond ratings? If that's our goals.
Yeah, so because there are no findings on the major level, that is great. The goal is to make sure 2024 is clean as best as possible. 2025 fiscal year current budget is exceeding and having a surplus, and then to make sure 2026 is structurally sound budget. Now, there was some management comments and recommendations by our auditor to improve the town, which we'll ask, but we might have to address. But it's not anything that arises significantly because there weren't any material weaknesses or findings. So these are things that we can simply explain that we are improving. We are taking the recommendations of our auditor. We are going to implement them. That council will have an opportunity to strengthen its financial policies if it wishes to do so, to help us move forward. Because every year we will make sure that those policies are in the budget and that when it's introduced. So you have the policies and you look at it, you can review. But going forward with an understanding of that, we will take those recommendations, we will implement those recommendations to improve our financial position and to prove our credit worthiness.
Thank you.
Yes.
Councilman Fields.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that report. And I'm only happy. I'm only excited. I'm ecstatic about it, how far we've come in as many years. And when I first came on council, I sat beside Miss Washington. And Miss Washington, I know I'll get a head nod that we have come a long way, because I've been on this council going on 9 years now. And to look at the lowest number you had up there was around 4 million 5 years ago. But 8, 9 years ago, we're barely bouncing around 2 million or 3 million, if I'm not correct. Right, Mayor? So we've grown. As to what our staff has done, and in conjunction with the council support and suggestions, we had, before you came here, sir, a loud squeaky wheel. And as the old saying goes, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So look what has happened when you're taking the grease or the oil behind that metaphor and apply it. Look what we come out with. We have a wonderful staff, a wonderful leadership by our town manager. And all of you guys that work hard, and all of us to make the suggestions and decisions behind it, to the point where someone or something may try to create another squeaky wheel, but it's been taken care of. It's called pay for performance. So we perform the way the staff is performed and how we suggest that the staff perform. It's taken care of. So thank you.
Chair Pro Tem.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Eatman, I just wanted to thank you, your staff in the finance department, just ensuring that, we got to this point. I know a lot of work has gone into it. Very excited about what that means for us, and it's a testament to our fiscal responsibility. So I just want to say, keep on doing what you're doing. I see you're starting the new year off right with good news. I love good news. So continue to bring that to us throughout the year. Thank you.
Councilman Pete.
I want to say thank you guys for the presentation. It was amazing. I kind of was a little shaky when you were coming in the door, just to be honest with you, because you had some big shoes to fill. But you, looking at this, and over the last month and a half or so, you've been doing an outstanding job. So I want to ask that you continue to do the works that you need to do to keep us where we're at and to improve us in our financial department. If there's anything of the council that you would need as a recommendation or suggestion, if you can get with the town manager, she'll get with us, and we'll make sure that we meet where we need to meet at. As far as looking out and to making sure that this town stays on the up and up. Thank you, Auditor, for your, I love when you said this goes through several eyes before it gets to you guys as a final. I thank you for that also. So keep doing what you're doing. We're looking great. And again, thank you.
Well, you've been our auditor for many years. I think this is the earliest we have ever seen you in these chambers. January, the first meeting of January, even before we got a mid-year budget review, we got to get our audit. So that's a testament. Mr. Eaton, I also want to acknowledge your predecessor, whose name is all over this audit, Ms. Stacy Jordan, for the work she did to help prepare you and pass this baton over. To clean up all the findings from the 2023 audit and to get us to a 2024 clean audit. One of the goals that we had in the budget book this year was a clean audit. a budget presentation award, and now we're going after that GFOA Triple Crown Award, which we have been so covenant to get our hands on, and it's looking like it's in our sights to get that Triple Crown, which puts us in the high tier of financial. So thank y'all for getting this audit. The quicker you get it done, I think the cheaper our bill gets with the auditor. And we appreciate you all. I remember the days where they used to be down in that little office and they would pull out books and they would bring 5 or 6 people here and be looking through our files. And so I commend you for the work, and it just helps us that's a testament to why our fund balance have went up over 300% in the last 5 years. So thank you again for the work you did and your team. With that said, this council has been sitting down for almost 2 hours. I am going to give them a quick stretch break so we can come in and get through this consent agenda. All right, so council, go ahead and take a stretch break. We'll come back at the top of the hour.
We talking about the same thing. We're doing the same thing, we just doing this. You see.
All right, welcome back. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Vice Mayor.
I would like to remove the council rules from the consent agenda.
You want to remove it and then put it where?
As a discussion item.
Okay, so we'll move it to the next action item afterwards.
Thank you.
Okay, so you want to do that in the whole motion to approve the whole thing? The rest of it?
Yeah, I can make the motion to approve the consent agenda. I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the removal of the council rules.
Seconds.
Any discussion? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, call for the question.
Councilmember Peterson,
Aye.
Councilmember Pete,
Yes.
Councilmember Fields,
Yes.
Councilmember Young,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Miles.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nicholson,
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes.
That motion's passed.
Vice Mayor, the floor is yours.
Thank you. In the council rules, there is I was trying to find it. We have limits on the amount of time that the council can speak on a topic. Council members can speak on a topic. We have a limit on the amount of time that citizens can give comments. I'm proposing that we add to those limits the amount of time for a presentation. Presentations should be no more than 10 minutes before we get to the question section. That way we are able to manage the agenda more effectively. And also for the folks who we have sitting in the audience who are looking for other items on the agenda, we want to make sure that we're able to move through the agenda with a good amount of time and speed in respect of everybody's time. So my motion is to add limits to the amount of time that presentations are given during a meeting to 10 minutes.
I second that motion, Mayor.
It's been motion and second. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Peterson,
Aye.
Councilmember Pete,
Yes.
Councilmember Fields.
Yes.
Councilmember Young,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Miles.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nicholson,
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Oh, yes. All right,
That motion has passed.
all right, Councilman Pete.
Okay, I would like to have a discussion I need to make the motion. Why you keep coming?
Mr. Mayor, we need a motion to approve the rules now subject to the amendment that's made.
Okay,
Thank you.
Vice
Like-
Mayor.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the council rules
Okay.
with the amendment.
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call for the question.
I had a quick question. I'm sorry about that because I didn't hear who did the second.
Councilman Young.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Peterson,
Yes.
Councilmember Pete,
Yes.
Councilmember Fields,
Yes.
Councilmember Young,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Miles.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nicholson,
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes.
That motion has passed.
Councilman Pete.
I'd like to move to amend the section 3 and 4 of the council meeting in September the 19th, 2023, resolution to establish the Dumfries Youth Council to a volunteer advisory committee for youth programs to provide as the remaining still current 7 members, up to 7 members, to delete the requirement that any member must be engaged to the studies of grade 8 through 12 and feeder schools, to modify the terms of office so that the start and end dates are not grounded to an academic year. Starts in September, expires upon completion of high school. Also, to change the requirement for residency from a minimum of 4 town residents to all members must be residents.
That was a long motion. You probably gonna have to,
State it again?
yes, state it again. You want to amend the meeting?
No, I want to.
Okay, all right, start the motion over.
I would like to amend section 3 and 4 of the council meeting that was had in September 19th of 2023 with the resolution that established the Dumfries Youth Council to the advisory council for youth programs. And that also provides up to 7 members. It deletes the requirement that any member must be engaged in the studies of grade 8 through 12 and feeder schools. It modifies the term of office so that the start and end dates are not grounded in the academic years. The start of September expires upon completion of high school, right? Also change the requirement of residency from a minimum of 4 town residents to all members must be residents.
I'm a little bit confused.
So he's looking for a second for discussion.
The second for discussion of the amendments that you're making to,
Well, it's a motion with all of those amendments in that one motion.
what the clerk has.
To amend the resolution that created the Youth Advisory Council. The reference to the date is the date on which the council actually approved that resolution.
Got it.
Okay. So do we need him to restate the motion? The motion is to amend. Okay, so you're going to restate the motion? Okay.
I shall, Vice Mayor. I move to amend section 3 and 4 of the council meeting that was had. You want the reason of the resolution that was from that meeting? Yeah, hell yeah, I'm gonna read all of them.
Can I make a suggestion? So because this is a resolution that was approved in 2023, can I make a suggestion that we add this to the next meeting and then highlight those changes that you stated in your motion to put it in play? So it's in the document and that way it makes it easier for the body to just approve it with your noted changes. That's next Tuesday, the 21st.
If that's a recommendation of the council to move forward in that manner, we can.
And it's just my suggestion so that everybody can understand the changes that are made.
So I'm just clarity. So do we don't have a youth council? And you're just looking to amend? We
Based on this resolution, there was a youth council established September 19, 2023. This resolution establishes it. But
Right.
based off of, I guess, his motion, he's making 3 changes to add or to amend this motion. I mean, a resolution, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I accept putting it on the next agenda. I'm all right with that. Looks like there's a consensus. Well, nobody seconded. There's no motion on the floor.
That copy that you're making the changes when you finish, I can add.
Yeah.
Yeah. So add your changes to this.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Do we have another closed session?
I'd like to have a point of privilege, please.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I want to address the concerns about the amount of the cumulative raises over the past 2 years for the town manager. We were accused of fiscal irresponsibility as it relates to that particular topic. For me, fiscal irresponsibility is not about investing in our town manager. It is about spending without sound judgment. For instance, the debates that we had here in reference to the budget for our 250th anniversary. That, to me, was conversations about fiscal irresponsibility when we were talking about things like spending $5,000 for a performer to perform for 1 hour. Also, there was a comparison made to Petersburg, Virginia, with regard to the salaries. But those comparisons don't fully account for our local realities, like the cost of living, the unique community needs that we have here. And while I appreciate the effort to provide perspective, our decisions always reflect what's best for our town. And investing in our town manager is investing in the success of our town. Her salary reflects the critical role she plays and the exceptional value she continues to bring to our community. Decisions like these are made with careful consideration and always ensuring that we prioritize leadership that benefits everyone. Thank you. I yield.
Have we exhausted the agenda? Okay. The agenda has been exhausted. At this time, this meeting is adjourned.